Ay, madam.
Blowing that jihad! Let's go! Ay, madam. Blowing that jihad! Let's go! Ay, madam. Blowing that jihad! Let's go! Ay, madam. Blowing that jihad! Let's go!
Ay, madam.
Blowing the jihad! Let's go! Ay, madam. Blowing the jihad!
Six solid. Seven fold. Ay, wait lang. Five fold, six all in. Seven fold. Eight and nine fold. 10 fold. One fold. Two fold.
Ganti ng api. Yeah.
Four call.
Lolok naman to.
Oh, hindi. Una,
Two cards.
blind ka naman. Blind card.
Blackjack sa kabakaran. Ah.
Tatawagin pa ba si Jepoy?
Ito na kailangan ko.
Jepoy! Ano siya?
Mark.
Olin!
Hindi ako nanalo sa'yo.
Diretso na.
Run. Hindi ako nanalo sa kanya na may bull. Eh baka
Wala, Poy.
Ayun na! Bakit may disk yan? Disk tsaka queen. Ako patay. Disk na lang. Walang puso.
Tiga.
52.
Tapos,
62. 62.
si Jepoy! Tapos daw, sandali lang, may naglolo ko. Ayaw daw mag-follow ng camera. Ayaw mag-follow ng camera. Kaya yung
Straight siya eh. Straight na siya.
Ah, oo. Right side.
Right, let's check the sound up in here. Watching the Metro Weekend Special 400K guaranteed final day. Took a while to get things sorted, but here we are. Final table, 9 out of 266 runners in this weekend special. Go through the names as we see them in action, but I can already tell you chip stacks are pretty even as we started this final table. Lost the table sound there. Chip leader was Mark Angelo Vergara. 992,000 chips in seat 2. Followed not so closely. Jeffrey Kalman, seat 4 with 760,000. And down the line, the shortest stack in seat 6, Romel Calderon with 62,000. The blinds are 8K, 16K. That means it's about 5 BB. Right now, we're in a pot between Rotman and Jojo, using their nicknames here. So there you go, Mark. That's Mark Angelo Vergara, still in the lead with 916, and Lloyd with over 100,000. Of course, Jojo is Jojo Ledina, who some of you might know from his Facebook posts, where he posts some very interesting hands and comments. Strangely missing at this final table is our favorite poker broadcaster, Jester Insha, who stepped aside out of courtesy. Join the action here. Roland in seat 5. This is Rolando de la Serna. AC doozy under the gun. Might get frisky with it. Only 280k in his stack. He looks like he's in the mood to play a pot here. Rotman in seat 6. That's Romel Calderon. What's the short stack? Has doubled up since we started. Quick folds all around to Jojo Ledina with the pocket kings. The raise is 40,000. And with 240 behind, he might not want to raise all in. Might want to try to induce that 4-bet shove from some weaker hands. Of course, Jojo's stack is only 436,000. Might keep it simple. I like this 3-bet. It can induce shoves from weaker hands. It leaves the door open for Roland to make a mistake, whereas if Jojo just gone all in, Roland would be folding 100% of the time and would never be making a mistake. Door's not that wide open with 240k stack. Worst thing he can do here is flat call. Gotta figure out George's range. Let's figure out how to get that table sound back. Those white chips, I believe, might be 5k a pop. We know the gray chips are 10k. Blue chips might be 1,000 each. The average stack's only 440,000. Yeah, shows the ace. Moderate pickup by Jojo Ledina, moves up to 3rd overall. Lines are about to go up. We are, of course, playing. Looks like we're playing a BB ante format. 10, 20, and 20 in the BB ante. Maybe next hand. I think they played one more hand. There was a riffle before the blind levels went up. So this is still at 8k, 16k. Pocket ace is under the gun for Rotman. How to get 3-bet? He's definitely opening. With 278k, he wants to open for 40 and get re-raised. Just like what happened to Rolando de la Serna a hand ago. This time, Rotman's got the hand to do it with. Use the time bank to figure out that the raise amount is 45,000. Let's see if Aki's coming along for the ride. Not with pocket sixes. Lloyd Queen 7 suited. Nice cash game hand, but not great for a final table. Chip leader here. Mark-Angelo Vergara in seat 2. Might want to speculate. Let's see how he chooses to play his chip lead. We'll get out of the way. This might be a disappointing result as it's going to get folded around and Rotman will win the absolute minimum with his pocket aces. It's a sad day for pocket ace. Well, still better than get a bad beat, but that is how to fold disappointedly. All right, we're live streaming. I believe over YouTube, but I'm monitoring the Facebook comments right now. There you go. And no comments as of yet. Or I haven't refreshed. All right, on to the next deal. Each blind level is 30 minutes. All right, ace jack offsuit for Jojo. He opens for 40K. Expect see some folds here with the garbage hands behind him. So far, we haven't seen action in a race pot. We are gonna see it now as John Nico Easy. With an adventurous 3-bet. Could be good timing. Jojo's not at the top of his range here. Nico just trying to shake things up. Seen a lot of raise folds pre-flop. See if we can go raise 3-bet fold in this one. Only 60K to call, but it's the essence of the move that Nico is counting on here. Such a small 3-bet. It's a minimum 3-bet. Just clicked it right back to Jojo Ledina. See what godly read Jojo can come up with. And he cannot stand the heat. That is a minimum 3-bet. Take note. Just the idea of 3-betting. Great timing. The bet size is as small as can be, and that's part of what makes it look really strong. Oh, got our table sound back. Hey, shout out to Joe Mejorada, silent watcher of MCC. How many re-entries? There are no limits on re-entries in this Metro Weekend Special. As for your second part of your question, is there re-entry on the second day? I believe not. And if I'm wrong, somebody please comment. Very rare that tourneys have a second day entry. Usually reserve that for some really major event where you can enter on second day, like some high rollers do that. Right now you're watching the weekend special, so it's a weekly tourney. It doesn't follow the Metro Major format. One notable difference is they will be playing BB ante all the way till the end here. In the Major, we go back to regular antes at the final table. So back to the action. Jojo raises from the +1 with ace-4 of hearts. A lot of folding at this table. He's got 3-bet before by Nico. Is he gonna get 3-bet 2 hands in a row? Nico makes it the same move, but this time Jeff Calma with ace-king of diamonds can snap up this pot uncontested. One move for Jeff here. He folds like 0.5% of the time in this spot. Started the final table with 760K. Took a hit since then, so he's gonna want to get back in action here. Wow. Jeff is unsure what Jojo might have done, but he wasn't willing to take stand with ace-king suited. Instead, he wants to see a flop. Jojo's got great odds just to flat here with a suited ace. 60K for a 290 pot, 5-1 just to see a flop and give up if it's not favorable. Rotman, 90K for 9-8, not good. He's only got 268K. If he wants to enter the spot, he's gonna have to shove. But very interesting choice made by Jeffrey Kalma with the ace king of diamonds. A cold call of a pre-flop 3-bet. That's what you call a cold call when you have nothing invested in the pot and you call a raise and a re-raise cold, just like that. And now Jojo Ledina is wondering what Jeff came along with. Who flats 3-bets like this? Jeff gets out of the way. Sorry, Jojo gets out of the way, sensing some strength because that flat call of a 3-bet, it seems like a move for someone who doesn't really care to get it all in if he must. Well, the flop favors Nico. Nico is the 3-better. Good texture. Only one paint card. Would have been top pair. It would have been gut shot with a backdoor draw for Jojo, but he's no longer the hand. Now, only 4 outs remain. An ace, of course. We saw the ace of hearts has been folded. Nico in the lead. Now, let's catch up on the action here. It has gone check, check, and Nico's trying to protect his hand. Now 4 clubs. Nico has a club, but it's not a great one. One of the lower clubs you can think of. So Nico turns his hand into kind of a bluff. Maybe might get called by someone holding a 3, but with 4 clubs on the board, he's essentially bluffing here. Oh, it's Jeff who's bluffing for 100K. My bad. Well, Jeff has no choice but to bluff. He doesn't have a club in hand, and he takes this pot away from Nico. Played it a little tentative post-flop, and he just let the board unravel and create all kinds of situations that Jeff Kalma took advantage. Back up to 592K. Very interestingly played. I believe both gentlemen had a chance to take it down. Jeff before the flop, Nico after the flop. Ultimately, Jeff turns his hand into a bluff at the river. Jeff moves on up. Nico with a little bit of a failure to follow through on that 3-bet. Alright, trying to sort out this table sound because we got pocket aces. Lloyd wakes up with it. This is Lloyd Lim. Raises 45K like anyone would. He's raised it from the +1. When ace is raised, nobody 3-bets. And this might fold all the way through to the blinds and be another disappointing, uncontested pot for the aces. I don't see how Roland can fool around with this hand. Queen 5 off. Rotman's got the unsuited connectors. Down to the blinds. Let's see if Rashid Haitao is going to defend with Jack-8 offsuit from the big blind. He got a good price for it. Likes that jack, but the ace is showing. That ace saved him trouble because if it was a jack-high flop, Sid might be paying through the nose, but instead it's going to go check, check. Lloyd trying to disguise the strength of his hand, gets Sid to bet on that second pair. It might work. Kind of strange though. I mean, what hands does Lloyd open pre-flop that doesn't have an ace? A lot of pocket pairs in that range. And they all check the flop. So Sid has to piece this together. Instead, it's Lloyd as Sid checks again. Probably trying to keep the pot small. Lloyd finally deciding to get some value for his top set of aces. Interesting. The hand is underrepresented, and that is why Sid is playing with a jack. With no hearts on the river, I believe Sid could call yet another small bet. He checks to Lloyd. Time to go to Value Town, but how to not lose your customer? That is the question for Lloyd Income. Lim Kirk Lloyd Income. I'm sure I murdered the order of his name. Well, somebody owes a time bank. That is the sound of the shot clock buzzer. Lloyd's still trying to figure out the price that he can get paid. No straight showed up. No flushes showed up. He's just got to figure out. It's not likely his opponent has an ace. So how to get paid by opponent holding a jack. 50K. Interesting price. Sid only has 230. Lloyd has bet 50 and left 40 behind. That's pretty strong. That says a lot. No, nobody bets 50K, leaves 40 behind, but Sid makes the call. He's only beating a desperate bluff at that point. Most hands with no showdown value, some hands with showdown value would just check back, and hands that can't beat a bluff with 90K behind aren't going to bet. But it's the right price, and Sid is forced to pay. Well played by Lloyd. He moves on up in the ladder. Still 9 players remain in this weekend special 400K guaranteed. Final day today. Some good Sunday action. Coming live. Streaming live from the Metro Card Club, but the stream does have a security delay of 20 minutes. Hear a garbled table sound, but we are discussing maybe that last bet. Was this a misdeal? Time banks are in play, as they normally are most of the events these days. Each of those yellow cards gives you an extra 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to act without having to pay time bank. But once you run out of time, you gotta pay with a yellow card. The blinds for 10, 20, and 20,000. BB pays the ante. Jack 5 off Lloyd. Gonna throw this one away. Pocket sixes, but really early position for Mark. Mark raises, makes it 45K. He is the chip leader. Jeff Kalma, pocket threes. It's not great, but it's playable to a call, given the stack sizes. Roland de la Serna gives up the king 7. And Aki folds the dealer button with a dead man's hand to Sid down to 176K, about 8 big blinds. Nice squeeze opportunity here. It's begging for a squeeze. But Sid lets it go, and Jojo Ladino with king 4 off in the big blind. Wow. Getting almost 6-1 on his money, but it's such a ragged hand. You're still a good squeeze opportunity, though. Phasing a raise and a call. A 3-bet from the blinds. Pretty common in these circuits. Almost as common as the Logo 3 is nowadays. So, Jojo comes along. He is rewarded with a top pair. King 7, 10, 2 diamonds on the board. Both pairs are Under pairs to the board. This might check a couple of times, and as soon as Jojo so much as breathes on this pot, it will be over. King 7, 10, 5, 2 diamonds on the board. Jojo still in the lead with top pair, no kicker. While Mark and Jeff are basically only beating bluffs. There's the value bet. Looks like 60,000 from Jojo Ledina. Check his top pair on the flop. Now tries to get value for it. Might get called by a 10 or a diamond draw, but nobody has any of that. Pot down. Push it to Jojo. Holding on to that fourth position. Shout out to Milbert. Thanks for your reply in the comments. And everyone watching, big time, gandang gabi sa'yo. Tira Pasok is absent. Was trying to make this final table. And lo and behold, he is not here. So, nagluluksa pa siguro sa isang sulok. Si Tira Pasok. Let's see another final table from Roddy. Referring to Rotman. Back to the action. Blinds are the same. 10, 20, 20. We take this commercial break as the screen is filled with garbage hands. 9-6 of spades looking good compared to the other hands, but still ultimately garbage. Rotman's got a raising hand if he chooses to make it so. From the hijack, 9-10 of diamonds, but more importantly, the action has been folded to him. And this is an opportunity to take the dead money, 50,000 dead in the middle. Raised to 45. Aki hasn't played a hand since we started the stream. Jojo cannot defend with Jack 2. Let's see what the big blind has. Queen 10 off, where Lloyd can defend for another 25K. And he dominates Rotman. Not sure you want to 3-bet this. Doesn't play that well. But calling. Plays okay. Here comes the flop. They paid for it. No paint. 6, 4, 7. 2 clubs on the board. Nobody has anything. Time to play poker. What is the right size? Rotman decides that the right c-bet size is 35K. I like it. No need to bet any more on this, just to balance out your range. Most of the times, people miss on this. It is so far away from the raising and calling ranges that Lloyd must give up. And Rotman takes it down. Nice little raised pot for him there. He received by Tao sit at the bottom, but not quite in the respirator. Still got about 8 big blinds. Got 9 minutes before the blinds rise, and it's gentle structure. Rises slowly. So, nobody really in dire straits right now. Shout out to Philippine Poker Royalty, the Riveras in attendance on our stream. So Yurid, and I see Datu Ashby Rivera. Good evening, sirs. Metro Weekend Special Final Table. Soldiers on. New deal, and in the blinds, John Nico Easty Queen 9 offsuit. No need to think about that one, but this one's interesting from the +1. King Queen of Hearts. And it's a click raise to 40,000 from Jeff. Still 9 players at this table. 266 entries. Total pot is as guaranteed, 400,000. Will this be the hand that Aki finally plays on this live stream? I think not. Waiting for better. Did in the cutoff. King, Jack. Kind of the bottom of your calling range here. Stack is getting too short to play. And meanwhile, Jaw just got a re-raising hand. Their stacks are mid-sized. Should be interesting. Both gentlemen with 25 big blinds. More importantly, they're near the top of the food chain. These are the mid-stack players. They do not want to get involved in giant pots and lose their position. So Jojo elects to just flat call from the dealer button. Has an option to squeeze, but gives it up. His hand is too weak to do much of anything. So King, Queen, Broadway cards. And of course the board is no paint. Big paired board. It's a quick check from Jeff. I like a small c-bet here given the stack sizes. Like to put pressure on each other, and here comes the ace, and now it's a gut shot and a flush draw for Jeff, while Jojo has improved to aces up. Both gentlemen liking this turn. 20K. Jojo's going to try to get the showdown. Calls to 20 and is certainly going to call on any brick on the river. Will call almost any bet. Well, Jeff can now dictate the price of the showdown by making a bet of 20 here. It's better than check calling a larger amount, that's for sure. Jojo should be calling here, I mean. He's chopping against another ace because that king showed up. That also means not likely to be out-kicked anymore. He decides he doesn't want to chop just in case the other player has an ace. He needs to get him off that hand. But for Jeff, it's kings up with an ace kicker. He thinks it's good enough, but it's not. He calls for 60 and Jojo will take down this pot. Nice turn in river, good for action. As Jojo Ledina moves up to 716,000. We did start the final table with about 570, so moving on up. Slowly creeping up to the chip lead. Probably be able to play 2 to 3 deals with the remaining 4.5 minutes of this blind level. Level 24. Yeah, gonna be a long night with these BB Ante format. No real urgency to act. Players are in good shape. Just a couple of them under 10 bigs. No micro stack. Roland gives up the jack deuce. Not going to see any action with it. Aki keeping up the streak of folds. And this is going to go to the blinds. Small versus big it will be. Unless Lloyd decides to steal. He does not. Nice blind versus blind hand to pick up here. Ace 9 of diamonds. Helps to set the tone for these blind versus blind altercations. Ooh, beware of the better who goes back for chips. As Mark has raised to 55,000. Nico's got diamonds as well, but they're horrible. Horrible, but good enough for him to call. Suited and barely connecting. It's a 3-gapper. 8 high for Nico. What kind of flop is he looking for? Not even close, as Mark has top pair, top kicker, and the backdoor draws are ever in his favor. This should be an instant fold for Nico unless he wants to get creative and paint the Sistine Chapel with his rags. Going to try to make something out of nothing as he floats in position here. Second diamond, and now a gut shot has appeared. This would be enough for Nico to hang himself with, as Mark has checked. Nico's hand has improved, and I mean, this is why you float. When the guy checks the next street, you make a bet. That's the playbook, and Nico is falling right into it. Mark, a bit too quick on that call. And now with the river showing, Mark needs to find a check call in his arsenal because Nico probably has to bet a polarizing size here. You might have to bet 250. Can't check back with 8 high. And can't make a small bet because you're going to get called by a jack. It is serious trouble, but with the right bet size, Nico might get away from this. Wow, did he announce all in? That is the polarizing size we asked for. What a play! That is a Dame time 3 long shot from the logo with no time on the clock by Nico. 8 high, that's his hand. He's missed everything and it's going to work out. Beautiful float. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you float in position. But it helps when the turn card improves your hand, but you need the guts to fire that river. In theory, it's easy, but on the table, wow. To pull off that move, that's cold-blooded. That is cold-blooded, man. Shout out to Renzi Polito. Hope you saw that hand. And to Ronnie Rosales. Aki for the win. I think Aki for the fold so far. As that is all he's been doing. Taking his time. Aki is... It says here his name is Aquino Cruz. Which is interesting. It's 2 last names. So somebody named him Aquino as the first name. All right, back to the action. Rotman and the +1. Highlight play there by Nico. And he moves up. Doing that against the chip leader. Okay, Aki for the win. He's got pocket queens. And he's made it 45,000. First move he's made at this final table. You want to get some respect, but not too much respect. That is the balance you want in your image as a poker player. Nico in the small blind. This is the first time Aki's made a raise. Well, he's got a hand that's good enough to call. Needs to spike that king to get ahead. Jeff Combo with ace-4. Getting good odds, but it's such a weak ace against Aki's range. Jeff is going to come along here. Price is too good to resist. Eyes wide open. One looking for an ace, one looking for a queen. They get neither, but it's a gut shot for Jeff Comm. King high for Nico, and a massive overpair as Aki's pocket queens dominate this board so far. Lead out on the gut shot by Jeff. So often, donking into the razor folds to a raise on the flop. Let's see if Aki has read that playbook. Most players who donk into the razor either do it as a blocker to a draw or to try to finish the pot with some weak-made hand. In Jeff's case, it's a blocker for his gut shot with backdoor club outs. He might like seeing an ace too. Aki has raised it. I like this move. Even with nothing, you should be raising this move most of the time if your stack can afford it. And it's going to work out. Jeff cannot call 100,000, a third of his stack for a gut shot. He can shove, but I don't. It would be really crazy to do this with put his tournament life on the line against a player who's only played right now. Yeah. So a nice try, but his blocker bet was reblocked, and Aki takes down the spot. One shot, one make so far for Aki. Aki? Aki. I mean, if it's short for Aki, no, it's Aki. Sid biding his time along with Roland at the bottom of the barrel. You got the weekend special final day. There we go. Let's put the clock in the upper left corner of the screen. When we get a break, we'll try to sort out these table sounds that we are not hearing. Can't get a hand to play with. Aki's already checked it, looked at his hand. One of the rare breed of players who looks at his cards before his turn. Jaja looks down at 10-4 diamonds in the middle position. Not playable, and even less playable is Lloyd's 10-3. And Mark's going to raise with ace rag from the cutoff. Makes it 50K. Got some ground to make up. Started the final table as the chip leader. Now one of the middle stacks after that bloated pot that he lost against Nico without a showdown. Roland's got king, queen of clubs. I mean, this should play for all the chips pre-flop. See him take a drink to prepare for battle. I mean, that is entertaining to see. Normally, players take their action and then take a drink. But in this case, he's raised it to 50. He must. Mark is facing another 98K, 123K. Sorry, quite a big call. Not something you can do with ace rag, but Mark makes the call. It's going to try to put Roland out of this tourney, and he is ahead. The ace high is ahead. King, queen of diamonds for Roland, whose tournament life is on the line. He is the player at risk. You can see the all-in triangle next to his hand. And let's see how the flop unfolds. All blanks looking good for Mark as ace high is still out kicking Roland's king high. Now he hits a 6. Not that it matters, because whether or not, even without the 6, a king or a queen is what was needed, not an ace. And as it turns out, that is the end of the line for Rolando de la Serna. Started the final table with 320,000 in chips. Now has 0, but takes home 67.50 in cash for his troubles. Down to 8 players here at the weekend special, 400K guaranteed. A final table. And just like that, the blinds have gone up. Our blinds are now 10. Well, it has been 10.25 since the last hand. 10,000 in the small, 25,000 in the big, and the big blind must pay the ante, another 25K. Average stack is about 500,000 with 8 players remaining, which means the average stack is just about 20 big blinds. There is a dead small blind, and that's why the pot's only 50K. Only the big blind has invested into the spot. One big blind and one big blind ante. These situations, you might hear a player mutter, "Ako na lang may pera sa pot, kukunin niyo pa." Mark raises to 50,000, unknown hand from the hijack. Let's see the response for Rotman. Horrible hand. And, well, he's going to defend. Must know that Mark raises very wide from the hijack, but still playing king 5 off, out of position, it's fun when you hit the king. So checks his top pair, no kicker hand, inducing this continuation bet, and up to Rotman how to play this. I think the pot size is ripe enough for a check raise, because a lot of cards can come that can kill the action. Clubs kill his action. Well, it gives him a redraw, I guess. It's one reason, but here comes the raise. And you better believe that if Mark comes right back at him, Rotman is going to war with his king. Got that backdoor club draw. Mark is out of his hand. Well played by Rotman. Good defense. And this is a spot where you need to remember spots like this, because in this case, Rotman did have the top pair. But you can use this line, this exact same line, with no hit. Because just remember, anytime you see a spot where you're trying to get called, but you get folds, then take note of it, because you have just discovered a bluffing spot that you can reference for later in your play. Consequently, if you try to bluff and get called, then you just accidentally found a value spot that you need to take note of. Of course, the best bluffing spot we've seen was a few hands ago in a big hand between Nico and then chip leader Mark Angelo Vergara. If you're watching on YouTube, you can scroll back to that. To scroll back about 20 minutes, it's worth the view. And for those watching on Facebook, sorry, no scrolling back from that platform. I'm pretty sure you saw the hand. Another hand developing between Mark and Nico. The two players involved in what is so far the hand of the night, and they're going to see action again. Nico has 3-bet a lot, so he might be perceived as very wide. He's 3-bet several players in just the short time that we've been streaming this final table. So Mark with his suited king opens for 50. Nico 3-bets to 150. And Jeff's going to get out of the way, and we'll see what the response is. Mark's being pushed around by Nico. And he doesn't even have position. He will be out of position to Nico forever until they get a heads up. Wow. Mark went in for a 4x raise and now has to give it up. So this is why a lot of players just use the click raise at this stage of the tournament. Just doubling the blinds. Just in case you get 3-bet, you can get out. No, he didn't 4x. Sorry, I misread that. It was 100K to call. He put in 50, 100K to call. So, all good. Forget what I said. That's what happens when you watch on a small screen. Here we go, next hand. So Nico gets the better of Mark in that previous one. We move on. Jojo Ledina is under the gun with what I like to call a poker max hand. If you know your Metro tournament history, shout out why 5 deuce offsuit is the Poker Max hand. 8-4 of diamonds once again for Nico. He played it to a raise earlier. This time it is unopened. Might be a case of favorite hand here. Gonna do a heat check. Not that the 8-4 hit anything earlier. It missed completely, but he won a big pot with it. Nico raises to 50K. And, well, look at what we have here. Aki is going to call along after Jeff tries to open a cascade of callers. Aki comes along in the small blind with 9-10 off. Jeff has the suited ace. And the flop comes perfect for Jeff and semi-perfect for Aki. 2 hearts on the board, 5, 7, 8. Top pair nut flush draw for Jeff. Top pair gut shot for Nico. And for Aki, 2 overcards and an open-ended draw. Something for everybody. This is Walmart flop over here, gentlemen. Aki's checking. He's checking to call, that's for sure. Can't give up to 1 bet with this massive open-ender with 2 overcards. Nico's bet to 60. Jeff's raised to 160, and now it's the cue for Aki to get out. Not so good for his open-ender right now. Still tempting, but not facing this action. I like this race by Jeff. He's raised 160, left 72 behind. He's virtually all in. Maybe I would have preferred he went like 130, but, you know, I'm pretty sure ending the hand right here isn't a bad result for Jeff. His 8 is vulnerable against possible overpairs. Nico's got the top pair. Wow. It is Aki who makes the move. This will send Nico right out of the hand. Aki is all in with his open-ender and 2 overcards. That is a perceived 14-outer for Aki. But little does he know, the hearts are no longer outs. Jeff will, of course, call with a top pair nut flush draw. And what more can you ask for? These are the hands to go to war with. You can go all the way back to Phil Gordon's book. These are the hands to go to war with. Top pair nut flush draw, open ender 2 overcards. Unfortunately for Aki, he can only draw non-hearts. All his heart draws are out. That's why he only has 7 real outs here. In the turn, well, he has 7 outs. Instead, we get a 7, which doesn't change anything. Still 7 outs. And that is one of them. Oh my goodness! Jeff Kalma has been eliminated with a top pair nut flush draw as Aki spikes the lower end of his straight draw. Which, by the way, would have given Nico a dummy end of a straight. But what a hand. Aki eliminates Jeff Kalma, one of the stronger competitors at this final table in terms of experience. Aki for the win. Wow. That's why you go to war with those hands. I mean, if you're not willing to put chips behind those hands, then you're going to have to recalibrate your poker game because you can't get to the end without winning those kinds of flips. And Aki took that one down. I never forget, he did have fold equity, just check raising over a bet in a race. A little bit of fold equity. Ultimately, he got the exact flop he wanted for his 9-10 offsuit, so he wasn't going to let it go. Took it to the end and took a giant pot, practically doubling up because his stack sizes were kind of effectively the same when he went up against Jeff. Jeff entered the table 760,000, second in command. Now he is instead second player out. As we have 7 players left at the final table of this weekend special. 400K is the guaranteed prize pool. Aki hadn't played a hand the first 30 minutes, and then bang, bang, 2 big ones. A bit of change in dynamic as we might have a new chip leader. Rotman still in the middle. He's going to play these pocket fives to a raise. Looks like 55,000. 65,000 is the raise from the cutoff. And now Jojo Ledina, how will he defend with his ace in the big blind? By pressing the call button. Every option is decent. Calling, folding, 3-betting. Jojo elects to call. We're going to see a flop. 5 is pretty much a dangler there. Queen Jack 4, 2 spades on the board. Nothing for anybody. Let's see if Jojo can find one check call in a pot where Rotman certainly must try to continue. Even a min bet at this point just to keep initiative. There we go. Looks like 35,000. It's such a nice small risk to take down a pot that was 165,000, and it works out. That is an advanced reason to bet. Basically, 2 reasons to bet are for value and for bluff. But in that case, that was neither. That was betting for equity, to protect your equity in the pot and capitalize on the dead money. Good takedown by Rotman. A little bit of a glitch in our visual. See if it's just me or if it shows up on the feed. Yep. We lost our table visual, but we still see the graphics. Oh, different kind of flying blind. There we go. We're back. We just saw, looked like an ace rag folded in early position. And just in time, Sid is all in 116,000, less than 5 big blinds with pocket jacks. And the best way to play it, shoved it outright. Let's see if Lloyd will defend. He can't really afford it. He's sitting 185, has to defend with half his stack with King 4. It's no good. And that is all Sid will get, the blinds and antes. He's still on the bottom, but he's managed to outclimb Jeff and Roland just by hanging on, staying out of trouble. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Seats 3 and 4. No, seats 4 and 5 have been eliminated. Is that right? Beautiful room, this newly renovated Metro Card Club. You must come visit in Pasig City within the Metro Walk complex. You can just put Metro Walk or Metro Card Club on your Waze app. If you've never been here, if you've never played live poker, this is where you start. It's what many new poker players have found to be the most conducive environment to learn the game, to get better at it, and that is why the Metro Card Club is the home of Philippine poker champions. That's not just a tagline, that is the absolute truth. Eight deuce, Nico is under the gun. But Rotman's open with less. See what he does from the +1. It is suited, but that's pretty much all that's going for it. Hold it around to the cutoff. We don't see his hand. Well, it's hit with ace queen and he's all in. Second hand in a row. Had jacks earlier, ace queen now. Might get looked up by Lloyd. It's too much. It's too much though. I mean, you like pushing with queen jack, you don't like calling with it. No, sir, this is not the time to shine. And for Mark, a random jack 7. Another uncontested pot for Sid. He moves on up. Might be across the 200K mark now. Well across it, 236K for Sid. Lloyd is the new bottom man at the totem pole. Shout out to some of our viewers. Sorry, Ian Marcos, one of the OGs of Philippine poker success. And Randall Chua, himself quite a wicked heads-up player. Welcome to the stream. You're watching the weekend special 400K guaranteed final table. Streaming live from the Metro Card Club in Pasig City. Might not be everyone's favorite city, but it does have what might be everyone's favorite mayor. Back to the action. Rotman under the gun with ace-jack. He's got a middle-sized stack. See what's in order for him. Opening for 55,000. 60,000. And we see a slew of folds. Should make it all the way to the blinds. Lloyd has an interesting hand, but once again, with a stack this short, you'd rather raise than call with it. And Rotman will get through here unless Nico wants to float out of position this time. With one of the worst hands in Texas Hold'em. Battle for worst hand is between 2-3 offsuit and 7-deuce offsuit, but 3-4 offsuit is not that far behind. Nico decides he gonna make a move. Sniffing this opportunity. Let's see if Rotman outsniffs him and 4-bets him all in. Nico has re-raised. It's an under the gun raise for Rotman. And Nico's interpreted that Rotman might be doing it lightly. Well, he will find out soon enough. He's made that 3-bet. It would be terrifying for Nico if Rotman just calls. At least if he 4-bets, Nico just folds. But if Rotman just calls, now he has to follow through on a flop. And this was something my coach always told me. It's one of the scariest things is a good player in position calling you is scarier than being raised. And that's what Rotman has done to Nico now. It's a 3-bet pot, Queen Jack 10. Nico started with nothing. Now he has less than nothing in his hands. Rotman has second pair with a gut shot. But this smashes into Nico's 3-betting range, so he's going to follow through. Looks like 100,000, all the 5K chips. That's a tell, though. He's bet with the expendable 5K chips. Let's see if Rotman can sniff this out. You can see he bet a stack of white chips. And, you know, it's a subconscious thing players do. When they're bluffing, they bet with the chips that they're willing to lose. And that's usually the small denomination chips. What does Rotman do here? Second pair, gut shot, already losing to most of the 3-betting hands. All the big pocket pairs have sets and over pairs and all. Straight draws here, better cards than his jack. Ace king flop to straight. And it works for Nico once again. I mean, how much worse of a hand can you win with Then 4-3 offsuit. Complete miss, but the board worked in his favor. And once again, easy in theory to follow up out of position in a 3-bet pot on that kind of board. But you gotta have the cojones to pull it off. And Nico has shown 2 big ones so far in this stream. Rotman could not read it right, I believe. Oh, that is the danger of flatting 3 bets is you could get lost in the hand. I thought that Rotman was calling to at least take 1 C-bet because you have to anticipate always that there's going to be a continuation bet in a 3-bet pot, almost always. And you have to be ready to take that. But the board texture made Rotman change his mind and he was gone. Wow. I mean, if this was an all-star game, Nico's in the dunk contest. Showing all kinds of flash and highlight reel plays. Back to the action now. Sid is raised to 65K, about a quarter of his stack with Queen Jack offsuit in the +1. Folded around the mark with pocket 8s. He can put them all in here. Keep it simple. And see if Sid's willing to take a flip. Flat calling here just opens the door to have other players come along or get squeezed. So Mark is going to raise it up and try to commit Sid into the muck or into the middle. 3-bet to 150. Nico's out of the way. Decision time for Sid. You do not want your tourney life on the line. Calling a 3-bet with Queen Jack offsuit. He could fold and still have 171K, which is good shape. Close to 7 big blinds. Don't do it! I mean, normally I have better odds than 29%, but I believe one of the queens and jacks have been folded. The body language. Sid looks tired, like he wants to do it, but experience and a strong will win over. And he's going to give that up. Marcus moving, trying to move back up to the chip lead, but that is now held by Nico and not far behind him by a shade. Aki with 958K. Shout out Jester Insha. Where are you? I thought you'd be at the final table. I mean, if you're not here and you're not there, what are we doing, man? 20 seconds before the blinds race, we're going to play one more hand at 10,000, 25,000 with a 25,000 BB ante. BB ante format for this one. These are the tourneys, like if you're anywhere within an hour, hour and a half to Metro Card Club and you really want to cut your teeth on your poker tournament game, play the dailies and work yourself up to these weeklies because iron sharpens iron and all the iron is at the Metro Card Club. Indeed, must take a break with King Deuce offsuit. Joe just got ace 9. One of the worst unsuited aces. Can't make straights. Always gets out kicked by the bigger ones. But Joe just going to play this to a raise. 50,000. And Lloyd's looking for a spot to shove, but it's always raised even before the action gets to him. Mark with ace 4. Trying to determine if Jojo actually picked up a hand or is just trying to stay active. Well, it's a little bit of both. Got half a hand, and he hasn't been active for a while. Nico has pocket 3s, which is way better than 8-4 of diamonds or 3-4 offsuit. So he 3-bets to 150. He's 3-bet Jojo at least twice. I mean, just in the last hour. And Jojo had folded ace jack earlier to a 3-bet. Oh, and by the way, nobody has seen what Nico's been playing because his big bets have not been called. He hasn't gone to showdown. So nobody knows what he's got when he's 3-betting. Another uncontested pot, a 3-bet pot. Nico is the reigning king of the 3-bet pots tonight. Let's see if someone will stand up to them. One of these vultures at the table waiting for their shot. Speaking of waiting for a shot, Lloyd is going to have to take one soon. Lloyd is in seat 1. Might have the shortest stack at the table between him and Sid. Shout out Dave Mugglod watching from Macau, China. And Jason Sonza railing for Aquino Cruz. Joe just got Jack 10 offsuit from under the gun. Doesn't need to take action. He's got a middle stack. Blinds are up 15k, 30k, 30k BB ante. Judge finds a fold. Lloyd's got the absolute worst, debatably the worst hand in Hold'em. Still can't make a move. It might work out. He could ladder up just folding. Nico's got 6-9 offsuit just the way we like it. Goes in the muck. Well, blind versus blind. Aki's got an ace, so he's going to keep it simple against Sid. All in fold from Sid. Shows the ace, and that's GG for that hand. There you see the action. It was a raise and fold. And the button will move to Aki. Gonna be a scheduled break in 26 minutes. I need one for rehydration. Shout out watching from Santa Maria, Bulacan, David. Shout out to you, David Labay Jr. Where's the action at in Santa Maria, Bulacan? Any live action? From Bulacan, is it better to drive to Pampanga or drive into Metro Manila? Pampanga's farther, but I think you get there sooner. I don't know. Starting the action, Lloyd. He is officially card dead. Folded to Nico in the hijack. He's got King 7 of hearts. Carrying that big stick, and he's using it too. He opens this one for 60. Rotman's got 9-8 of diamonds. It's favorite hand time for Rotman. The suited 9-8. Is he ever folding this? $318,000. If he's gonna 3-bet, it's gonna be for all the chips, so he elects to let it go. Joe just got ace-10. That is a decent hand to defend with, but also good enough to sometimes 3-bet. Problem is, Nico has not gone to showdown. Nobody has seen, well, at this final table at least, nobody has seen the quality of the hands he's been playing. He's been raising, 3-betting. Raising, shoving on flops. Nobody's seen what he's got. It's the international man of mystery right now. Georgia's going to defend. Kind of also disguising the strength of his hand. It flops. Top pair, but all spades on the board. Now, if anybody can bluff on this texture, it would be Nico. He's in position. He is the pre-flop raiser, and you know that he has the guns to shoot at this flop with. There you go. Continuation bet of 60,000. Can Jojo continue with top pair, top kicker on a monochrome board? He does not have a spade, but how often does a player flop a flush? More likely Nico's betting some combo like a hit with a draw. So his top pair, top kicker should be good. If Jojo is still ahead, He would like to check call down. He's now got 3 of a kind with a top kicker. But this board is so wet, you're gonna need some magic wipes to dry it up. It's straightening, it's flushing, it's full housing. It is everything you need to stop the action. So Nico's gonna give up on this one. What just happened here? Nico has rivered a straight and is winning against Jojo's trips. If Jojo doesn't bet here, this can go check, check. And Nico's gonna take the spot away. I like a bet fold line here from Jojo. Dictate the price of the showdown by betting an amount you're willing to call. Not necessarily a value bet. Uh-oh. He's bet small white chips again. The expendable chips for 80,000. Nico's got to find at least a call. 8, 9, 10. It's not exactly a 4-card straight. He's not got the dummy end of it. And now we're finally going to see Nico at a showdown. And they're going to see that he opened with King 7 of Hearts. Jojo's going to see he got rivered. And Nico takes another pot up to 1.3 million. Jojo, down to 336,000. After starting the final table with 570. How did that one get away from Jojo Ledina? Well, board texture was crazy wet. So he didn't want to go nuts with his top pair top kicker. And sometimes you get rivered when you let the cards go to the river. Like they say, don't let the judges decide a fight. You want to knock your opponent out before the end comes, but that's not always easy to do. And Nico's having some kind of run here. He's winning uncontested when he doesn't have it. And then when he does have it, he gets paid. So he's having a perfect final table so far. Dynamic will change though now that players have seen for the first time at this final table what Nico has been playing. Although I'm pretty sure in the last 3 days and over the last few years they've been playing against him, they have an idea how he plays. But you always want to see what gear a player is on. Ace-9 for Aki in the cutoff. Looks like an all-in and some kind of quick shove from Sid. I think Aki might have opened and Sid shoved for less. Let's catch up on that. Yes, race is 70. Sid was 70k to call, but he shoved over the top of it with pocket tens. Aki might be obliged to call because he's only calling 25 more. And they're going to table the hands. Pocket tens looking good. Looking to double up against Aki. Aki's got ace-9 offsuit. Had raised himself into that pot. And now, down to the dealer and the board. Rashid Paitao at risk. Tournament life on the line with pocket tens. See the red triangle on the right side of the screen signifying danger. But the flop is clean. 8-6, deuce, tens are ahead. A 9 doesn't hurt Sid. Just needs to dodge the ace. And for good measure, it's a 10. But now it opens up 3 outs. Still 3 outs. This time a gut shot for Aki. This would be horrific if it gets rivered. Instead, full house for Rashid Paitao. Sid doubles up. He started the final table with 108,000 in chips. And now he's doubled up and he's moved up to 265 courtesy of that raise and Judy call from Aki. Blinds are 15 and 30, 276 for Sid, 9 big blinds. And now the man in the spotlight is Lloyd Liam. Of course, he's in the small blind now. He folds this because we're playing BB ante. He won't need to spend a single chip for another round. Of course, he'd rather have a hand. Let's see what transpires. Nico's under the gun with pocket tens. I like raising here for sure, but especially because the table had already seen him raise questionable holdings. Might be fixing to get 3-bet here. Raises to 60,000 from under the gun. Ooh. If Aki had been last to call, he might be calling this, but with so many players to act on his left, this is a little risky. He could get sandwiched by any short stack who decides to squeeze. Facing a raise and a call, it's a great squeeze opportunity. Let's see if Sid is going to take this opportunity. Got pocket sixes as a backup. He's just calling, which means Jojo has good odds to call with a suited ace. 60K though out of his 321. Hurts. Just under 20% of his stack, but so tempting. Look at that. So much dead money in the middle that maybe shoving becomes an option. Not an easy spot for Jojo. Very tempting with a suited ace, but discipline, he folds it. This is a spot we're talking about. Lloyd's got a shove here. 45K to call. The best hand he's seen since the Jurassic era. He's been card dead. He's officially been given a card casket. So many junk cards being dealt to him at the final table. Now finally pocket sevens with all this action in front of him. And he lets it go. Wow, the radar is on there. Lloyd not liking that spot. And he was right. I mean, we can see the cards, but Lloyd can't see what we can see. But he got out of there. Mark is gonna just call because of the great odds with Jack 9, and look what happens. Spikes his Jack, and he's now ahead of everybody. This is crazy. Bet, call, pocket sevens fold. Big blind decides to call with any two cards, and now he's ahead. It's a check, and Nico bets 60 into the paired board. Fair enough. Tough for Sid to continue. If you must continue, it will be for everything. But Mark's still lurking in the hand. Sid is ahead of all kinds of ace-high ranges. And the fact that it's a paired board, it means it's less likely Nico actually has something here. Just continuing for balance. Tough spot for Sid because I like shoving here. And Sid has to think about it. With Nico, C-bet into 3 players. Sid lets it go. Discipline, experience. Mark check calls top pair as he should. Might take Nico to reverse Value Town by check calling all the way. A queen puts a bit of a scare. 2 diamonds on the board, and now Mark doesn't have the top pair. Let's see if Nico has a second barrel in him. Does not. Goes check, check. The river is a 7. Would have been a set for Lloyd. But he's not in his hand. Mark earns the check mark. A little bet fold line here. Try to get value. And fold to a raise. That's the plan. 85,000. Nice amount. Nico can look him up. He has to figure what draws missed. What does Mark check call on Jack 4-4 Rainbow? He can easily have a 4, having been sucked into this hand from the big blind. He's never betting 8s or 6s or 5s this way, so Nico decides to fold. Great fold. Mark went for value, but well played by Nico to get out the way. He is still the chip leader, but Mark is now back in familiar territory, also in the 1 million mark with The final 7 players here. Lloyd had a shot there with the 2 sevens, but he said no thank you. And must now move on. Sure, he's telling these players he would have had a set there. But woulda, coulda, shoulda should never be your middle name. Now Lloyd's on the button, so he's gonna get free looks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deals of free looks. He only has 100,000. The blinds are 1530. Telling you, any paint card action folded to him, he should go for it. Rotman and Aki, take it easy. Sid doesn't have a hand. Jojo barely has a hand, so here's the opportunity. There's... Nope, Lloyd's just decided he's going to keep folding. And wait for 4 people to bust out. Mark's got Jack-8 off, folded to him. Why not? It is blind versus blind, but hello. I mean, it's safe to say Nico has a 3-betting hand because he's 3-bet with 3-4 offsuit. You can certainly 3-bet with this one, but... I mean, because if he plays a flop with it, there's so many overcards. So I believe Mark has completed and tried to see the flop cheap. Nico has made a race. So 50k to call, Jack-8 off. He said he's mouthing an amount that sounded like 280. You can read lips. And yes, it is 280,000. That was the plan. I like this. Completing a small blind and then bang! Like completing a blind with bad intentions. This will work out in the dynamic later when they go blind versus blind more. Wow. Decision time for Nico. What kind of player is Mark? Can he make this move with Jack-8? We know he can. Nico's not just going to fold this. He's got to think about it. They are the 2 biggest stacks on the table, so it's not the person who you want to tangle with, but Nico has wow! He has figured it out! And once again, he's outplayed Mark here. Mark cannot call with Jack-8 offsuit. Nico, the radar is on. I mean, he's got Marc-Angelo Vergara on a leash, keeping him in control. 4-bet shove with a pocket 6s in a bloated pot there, blind versus blind. Wow, talk about move over move. Mark had a great idea, but Nico had a better idea. And he is staying in command here. Just playing brilliantly right now. Nico is cooking. And there's 7 players left. He's firmly in command. Average stack is 570,000. He's easily got double that, especially after getting dumped an extra 280k from second placer Marc-Angelo Vergara. So he opens up a gap. Good evening, Fisherman Mark. Shout out Richard Magaro. Good evening to you as well. You're watching the final table, final 7 players of the weekend special. But as I sit here, it is the Nico Isip show so far. Jojo Ladina with ace-jack offsuit in the hijack folded to him. This one plays itself. Do you shove with 11 big blinds? Especially with Lloyd sitting to your left with a micro stack. Georgia's gonna shove, does not want to get outplayed. Lloyd's got garbage as usual, gets out the way. Well, Georgia has made a raise where he can only get called by better hands. Every weaker hand's gonna fold, so he's really raising just to shut down the pot. Rotman's got Queen Jack of Spades. It's suited, but he's going to be calling for his tournament life in this situation. It's not great. Looks good, but ultimately Queen High. Which means King Deuce is a better hand. Not the way you want to go out, Rotman. He's going to have to bust on his terms. I don't think this is the spot for it. It boils down to, has his wife texted him to come home? Local time 11:26, close to midnight. And something's lurking in the dark if Rotman calls this. Oh, he can't quite let it go. Yeah, he has gingerly folded that hand correctly as well. Lloyd down 100K, Sid doubled that, but still a short stack. Rotman and Jojo taking up the middle positions. Trying to stay out, keep their head above water. Gonna have a break in 6 minutes. I need that water break. Possibly 3 to 4 deals from now. And we'll see if all 7 players will make this break. Talking about you, Lloyd, in seat 1. As Sid folds Queen 6 off, Jojo will show us what he's got. Or not. Wow, Lloyd stays in that card coffin. Folded the mark in the cutoff, Queen 7 off. He's been very active, had an up and down ride so far at this final table. Started as the chip leader, but has likely lost every pot he's played against Nico. Rotman can't call from the small blind, but Aki's asking. He's got 8-5 of diamonds. Seems to be well outside his usual range. 40K for a pot of 145. 3.5 to 1. And you can see the percentages that mathematically he should call, but there's so many other better spots. So he gives that up. Button will move, which means the blinds are inching ever closer to devour what's left of Lloyd's stack. Still sitting on 100,000. He's got this hand and the next to try to make something out of his stack. He'll be second to act. Jojo Ledina will act first with Ace King off. So once again, it's going to be fold. It's going to be raised before even Lloyd can take action. Question is, how much is Jojo going to play this for? He played Ace Jack for everything. And he's playing the Ace King for a more standard raise, as he is a bigger stack now. 60K. Lloyd has garbage. Mark has an interesting hand. It's callable, but Jojo has raised from under the gun. Mark's going to try to call and see if the party gets spoiled by any player to his left. So far, Nico and Rotman look to be cooperating. I don't see Rotman calling with Ace-5 here. Not against Jojo. Aki might come along. He would have if he was the big blind. And wow. Standard spot here for Sid. Facing a raise and a call in the big blind with a premium hand. He asks the short stack. You must squeeze all in with all your might with the ace-queen offsuit. And of course, Jojo's, he's not snap called, but he's got to call. Or in fact, he's got to isolate and get Mark out of his hand. If Jojo flats 115k, Mark comes along and spikes a 10, it's going to be trouble. So, Jojo's correctly isolated. Mark might want to try to bust 2 players, but he can't afford it. It's half his stack to try to bust 2 players with queen high. It's just not a good idea. It's a courageous idea. I hope it doesn't cost him a time bank. No, he's folded before it had to cost him a time bank. So now Sid is all in for this tournament life. Life on the line with a dominated hand. It's as bad as it gets in a Texas Hold'em tournament. He's got a 3-outer, got to spike that queen, but we know one of the queens has been folded. There goes the ace. It changes nothing. Sid is still needing one of those 2 queens to appear on the turn and or river. Not there. Is there a chop in the works? There is none. He must have a queen or it is over. Rashid Paitao has busted in 7th place. Taking 11,250 home with him, but more importantly, Lloyd has laddered up, folded every pair of cards that's been dealt to him, and he's now laddered up all the way to 6th place, guaranteed 14,250. Congratulations for Rashid Paitao, who did start as the 2nd shortest stack at the final table and made it this far. Nice deep run on this weekend special 400k guaranteed final day. 6 players remain. One more hand to be dealt before a break. And let's see if Lloyd, on this last chance before the blinds, he's gonna hit the blinds in the next hand. It will be much higher, but with this garbage hand, wow. Yeah, because if he doesn't make this move, he's gonna be playing blinds in the next hand anyway. So he's gonna take this queen eye hand. Mark's gotta isolate. I mean, calling for 100, it might invite many other callers. You don't want that. So Mark wants to isolate here. He's got to make it at least 170. There you go. Mark knows his math. He knows his min raises. And he's done exactly the minimum 3-bet 170. Rotman will now have to get out the way. Let's see if the isolation play works. If Aki did not have queens, it would have worked, but he does. There might be a re-isolation here as Aki is all in for 738,000. So let's recap. Lloyd says, I'm all in from under the gun. Mark says, guys, I got this. And Aki says, no, you don't got this. I got all of you. So Mark gets out of the way. Dead money. 170,000. So 70,000 already gone the way in the side pot for Aki. And now it's all about Lloyd trying to spike trips on this board somehow. Some kind of 1-card straight. 1-card flush with the hearts. These are all slim chances, but anybody can dream. Here comes the flop. Not a heart in sight, not a 4 in sight. He might be drawing almost dead. He needs to spike 2 4s in a row, maybe put a 5 out there. Drawing dead on the turn. Lloyd doesn't even make the break, but he does finish in 6th place. We'll have 5 players return to this final table after this 8-minute break. You can see the clock on your screen, so we'll take this break. 5 players remain in the Metro Weekend Special. Be right back.
Ay, madam.
Blowing the jihad! Let's go!
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 Madam.
Blowing that jihad!
Let's go! Madam.
Blowing that jihad!
Let's go! Madam.
Blowing that jihad!
Let's go! Madam.
Blowing that jihad!
Let's go!
Ay, madam.
Blowing dead kahat!
Ay, madam.
Blowing dead kahat! Ay, madam. Blowing dead kahat! Ay, madam. Blowing dead kahat!
Ay, madam.
Blowing the jihad!
Let's go!
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 Ay, madam.
Blowing the jihad! Ay, madam. Blowing the jihad! Ay, madam. Blowing the jihad! Ay, madam. Blowing the jihad!
Oh, we tried to fix that sound issue on the table, but didn't happen for us. Just like it didn't happen for 261 other players in this Metro Weekend Special. 266 played, only 5 remain. You're looking at the final 5. This is the final table, and familiar sight. Jojo with Ace Jack gonna go all in for all his chips. Blinds are up 20, 40, 40, 40. We're playing big blind ante. That's why there's 2 40s out there. Wow, Jojo is shoving pretty big stacks, shoving over 10 BBs on the regular. This one is a 15 BB shove. Prior to that, we saw 11 BB shove, also with Ace Jack, and it, like to hear from you in the comments. I'm not monitoring the comments right now. Phone died, but what do you want to get called with here? If you're only going to get called by better, could be tough, but the logic behind here is Georgia is just trying to eliminate any chance he can be outplayed, wants to take the pot outright. Ace Jack is just a backup plan in this scenario. Right, we see Nico still in the lead, 1.4 million. Aki quietly, taking a couple big pots and then just holding. And he's got 1.1. Been up and down ride for Mark. And Jojo steady in the 9 seat. Lloyd in seat 1. Busted out just before the break. And we are just left with some pretty significant stacks here. The short stacks have exited the table. Jojo Ledina, 9-6 of diamonds. Never seen him open for this week of a hand so far. Marking the cutoff, 10 deuce offsuit. That goes in the muck. And now Nico, who will play any 2 cards, especially folded him on the dealer button. And there she blows. It is a race to 80k. Par 4 the course. Rotman in a small blind, but no stack to back it up. Can't play for all your chips with 7 high. But then again, he's never getting a fold if he shoves 200 here. And if he just calls, he's going to leave 80k behind. It's really a question of, is this the hand? He folds this, he's in the clear for the next 3 hands because it's a BB ante. And trust me, he'd rather be shoving than calling with 7-6 of clubs. He has no fold equity. And that is why this must go in the muck. Rotman loves these suited connectors so much, he's decided to call, leave 80k behind. Figures doesn't work out, he can fold and hope something crazy happens and he ladders up somehow. But let's see. Well, he bought it. Let's see what he bought on the flop. Looking for any clubs, any connection. Gut shot, hit a 7. Awful. He's hit the 7. Nico has hit top 2 pair. Rotman is drawing really slim here and needs running clubs. 6 will not save him. 7 will not save him. He needs running clubs. That is pretty much it. Rotman all in for his tournament life. Nico just gonna gobble him up like dessert. Almost like an afterthought. Jack 7 deuce rainbow. There's an ace and that is drawing dead for Rotman. And just like that, we have 4 players left and Nico is at the 1.6 million mark. Four players left. Mark has ace-king under the gun. Time to change gears, and what a time to do it with when you have a monster hand. Four-handed, time to get super aggressive. Wow. Nico's got ace in his page. You know he's thinking 3-bet. Whoa! He's gone all in, and this is Mark's. It's Mark's bet to snap up. Snap call, of course. Nico doesn't do that with aces. And once again, this is the question on my mind when you go all in with the ace-jack, ace-10 type of hands. You're only ever getting called by better cards. So it's almost a pure bluff, very little value. Nico, you know, where 200k might have sufficed, he went all in, and now he stands to double up Mark. Nobody tournament life of Mark is at risk if a bunch of spades show up, or 2 10s hit the board, or some kind of Broadway straight. Put the triangle on the left side, sir. Mark has the ace king, and he is covered by Nico. I get that triangle placement right. It needs to go on the next to the cards of the player who stands to lose. And that is Mark with ace king. I mean, stands to be busted out. There you go. That on the left side, and off to the flop we go. Domination here. What a great turn of events. The one time Mark's gonna get some chips from Nico. It's gonna be a big one. 9-5-9 is clean, but a 5 creates chopping outs. 10 for the win, 5 for a chop, 9 almost a chop. Need another 9. Right now the ace king plays as a kicker. The ace creates a chop. Oh, much ado about nothing. And only win is the big blind and the BB ante. Wow, what a tease for Mark Angelo Vergara. Just when you think you're gonna double up and put a dent on what proves to be the most dangerous player so far at the table, you end up with a chop. Wow. That's like hitting a buzzer beater and the referee saying it was just worth 2 points. And you go into overtime instead of winning the game. Back to the drawing board. Bad taste in the mouth for Mark Angelo Vergara, who was on the cusp of really getting something going now that it's four-handed. 3 players. A couple players with close to a million chips. Giorgio Ledina, the analyzer. Lowest stack at this table. He's gone blind versus blind with king 10 offsuit. He's just gonna go all in. This has been his go-to move. It works every time but the last time, as they say. But it's gonna work out here. Jojo is just content to not play flops yet. Just take down the dead money and try to get to some better spots. 4 players remain. There you see Jojo has just slightly overtaken Mark after taking that dead money. Nico dodged many bullets and keeps his chip lead. Aki just hanging around and very dangerous, playing it like Mario Kart. Just hanging around behind Nico in second. Aki's got pocket 8s under the gun. Time to get more active. He's picked his spots very well. Winning only the biggest of pots, losing a few small ones on his way to 880,000. Races this one to 90. Jojo Ledino with 700k, sees an ace in his hand. Well, all in has worked every time, and this time it's got some dead money, but Aki's range is pretty strong. Ace 9 not faring well against it. Mark's in the small blind with an ace, but Nico's in the big blind. And sometimes you just want to get out of the way here. Nico will defend with any 2 cards. Especially his radar is so spot on tonight. Every hand except the last hand was pretty on point. This time he defends with 6-9, queen 4-5. Nico will be floating out of position. Let's see if he's got a check and call. I like Aki skipping the street here with second pair. He'll either skip the flop or bet the flop and skip the turn. Looks like he's betting this flop, just in case he can take it down outright. Let's see if Nico has a check fold in his arsenal. He does. Not going to try to float out of position, although it had worked out for him. So Aki chips up to 1.1 million. Clear front runners and clearly a pair bringing up the rear. Aki will now pay the blind and the big blind ante. 20k, 40k. As we started 5-handed, Nico had 1.5 million and immediately chewed up Rotman's chips. And that's why we're down to 4. Judge King Deuce. Get out the way after the dealer button. Mark has 10-8 off. Nico blind versus blind against Aki. Aki is playing a pretty tight range. Could be a good spot just to take it away from him. The pink chips are 50k. They have removed the white 5k chips. Aki will defend with 4-5 offsuit. I like the gear change. He's opened up his range. And the flop is King 7 Deuce. Top pair. No kicker for Nico. And for Aki, let's see if it's a fit or fold. Or if he's going to try to make something happen here. Not the best time with no backup plan here. It's naked 5 high. There is no upside here except when you spike an open ender. And now he can take a free card, but his hand did improve and he did float in position. Might be time to fire now. Of course, we know Nico's checking to call. Aki was calling to bluff, and this is part 2 of that plan. And it's a semi-bluff. He picked up outs to the straight. And there goes the check call. Nico might check call one more street. Well, Aki got there. And if Aki can polarize here, he might get a nice little call. Of course, Aki did defend with a raise, so the ace is a bit of an action killer. He might not even get called here. Gotta figure out what price is right. As he spiked the unlikely. A 6 would have been better. That would have hidden it. Gotten a call from the king. But the ace showing up. It's just less likely that Nico pays him off. Unless the price is right. He's gone for close to 400,000. And it's gone for that polarizing size. But it's too strong a bet with what he left behind. He left only 200k behind. It's reeking of more nuts than air. Let's see if Nico can see this for what it is. That it's almost never a bluff in this spot. Nico's got a bluff catcher. What draw missed? Only a club draw. Losing the 2 pairs, weaker kings. Nico with a misstep. Somehow Aki gets him to call. Wow, there must be some table time or some history in play here for Nico to make that call. Aki bet everything but 200k of his chips. It was designed to look polarizing, but it really looked nutted. And Nico paid him off in a big way. Aki is now half the chips in play. As he hits the 2 million mark. Wow. Working a little bit of his own magic. He's several skills in poker. It's a lot of skills. A lot of players think bluffing is a skill. That's true. But getting called by a weaker hand, that is a more technical skill and takes a whole lot of seasoning to develop, and Aki's got that down. Easy to get the nuts, hard to get paid. But this will change the dynamic as Aki's now the chip leader and Nico, first time in a long time, is in a vulnerable spot. As the other 3 players are basically sharing the other half of the chips in play. That would mean they each have about 1/6. Average stack is 1,000,000. Nobody else has that. Aki has 2. Under the gun suddenly. The door to make it to the heads-up finale of this final table is wide open. Nico has squandered his lead a bit there. Gonna try to make up some ground. Goes all in with Queen 3 offsuit. Yet another bet that only gets called by better, which means it works 90% of the time. And Nico just trying to get some air back into his tires after hitting a nasty road bump. There, you see it. Could be anybody's seat. Could be the last of the 2 seats filled. 4 players remain. We're trying to lose 3 more. On one hand, you got Mark, former chip leader. Nico, also former chip leader. Both have had their ups and downs. Jojo Ledina has been steady, playing a very low variance style, avoiding confrontation, settling most of his pots pre-flop. And then you have Aki, who's only won selective pots, but only the largest ones. Aki takes a small one here, uncontested. Perfect time to peak. You don't want to peak in day 1. You want to peak right around here, 4-handed, so close to the end. Four of the finest weekend warriors. And this live stream of the weekend special coming to you from the Metro Card Club in Pasig City. Aki's under the gun, King 6 suited. How wide is wide? Jojo Ledina keeping it super conservative. It's really only played hands with an ace in it. And now we're blind versus blind. And it's a walk, as Mark does not want to get outplayed. So the other option was to just shove outright. So folding, he determined, was best for that spot as we move on to another hand. Blinds are 20, 40, 40. A lot of chips in play. You can see that the average stack is about 25 big blinds. King 9 offsuit for Jojo Ledina. Checks the clock, figures there's time to wait. Mark's got 7 high on the button. He's tightened up. Nico goes all in, blind versus blind. Gonna keep it simple. Aki cannot call with 9 high, so this is gonna work out. As I said, trying to put some air back in those tires. Figure if he gets up to 1,000,000, he can start making moves again. But right now, just happy to take it down and be the aggressor. If you're watching on YouTube, you can scroll back and watch some previous hands. It has been quite a highlight reel for John Nico Isip. For these other players, for Aki, it's been a very efficient run to the top of the standings. Jojo Ledina, very cautious, steady play. And Mark Vergara. This time Nico from the button sees an ace in hand, same move. Aki cannot call with 9-4. Let's see what Jojo has. 10-9 also not gonna call. Nico's just trying to suffocate the players right now, give them no room to maneuver. And in one of these shoves, he's actually gonna have the goods. Right now, he takes the dead money. Shove after shove, each one netting 100,000 chips. As Nico moves up back to the close to the 1 million mark, he's at average stack right now. Average doesn't mean anything when you're four-handed. It's all about being the survivor, surviving the other players. Nico under the gun. Let's see if he continues. Good time to take a break now that you don't have a hand. And Aki's got 5-3 of diamonds. Got the massive chip lead. Let's see how he chooses to use it. Chooses to pick his spots. And now it's blind versus blind. Jojo might give Mark a walk here. You want to look left at your adversary and see if he looks like he's comfortable with his holdings. If there's any kind of weakness you can raise. In this case, Jojo completes. Mark checks back. We're going to see a flop on a small pot. Blind versus blind. I see paint. King 9-3. Nobody hits anything. First to bet wins. They're going to skip the flop, and on the turn, somebody needs to take a stab at this. There's the 10. Good news for Mark. He doesn't need to take a stab. He can bet for value now. Or you can check and call any bet, take the showdown. He's going to bet for value 40,000. So just absolutely nothing, and that's the end of that hand. Good gain. A small one for Mark. He only gained the blind that Jojo had called. Basically just won back his ante. Couple of hands, the blinds will rise like the relentless tides. Four players out of the 266 that began this tournament. They are the final four. Aquino, Aki Cruz. Then you have Benigno, Jojo Ledina. And now in the blinds, Mark Angelo Vergara versus John Nico Isip. These are your final four for the weekend special. It's a walk, and Nico takes a pot with 9 high, which is always welcome. Incoming new deal. Button is unmarked. Got the garbage under the gun. Taking his time, but he's paying for it. With a little bit of skin each time. Opens with King 8. Folded him on the button. Why not? Nico folds. It's down to Aki to defend with Jack 4 off. Not easy. But you can't roll over when you're in the blinds. Let's see what Aki does. He rolls over, gives Mark the 100k pot. Aki's still in the lead. He's playing like a sniper. Just headshot here and there. Buzzer, of course, is that you hear is the sound of the hand clock, the shot clock. I can call it the shot clock. They're not taking shots. It's the action clock. 4-3 offsuit on the button. Nico gives it up. Blind versus blind. Aki versus Jojo. Jojo's got somewhere around 10 bigs left. Aki will set the trap. Flat calling here, hoping Jojo does something he will regret. But Jojo can take a free look here. Suited connector. Can easily see a flop right now. Wow, he could not resist it. Aki set the trap. Jojo jumps into it, and Aki snaps the trap shut. Jojo Ledina is not in bad shape here. 41% is a big percentage. If I told you 41% of the time you would double your life's earnings, you would bet on it. But nonetheless, his tournament life is at risk. Essentially, it's 8 high right now, but it could improve on this flop. Aki has him massively covered. Will the flop help Jojo Ledina? It does not. The only conceivable help there is something connects to the 5 or more clubs come, but right now, it's a pair of aces for Aki. Now aces up, and that is drawing dead for Jojo Ledina. He is out 3 pairs for Aki. And Jojo Ledina walked right into that one. What about this level of skill that Aki is showing? It's a different kind of skill. It's where he gets players to do things that they regret. How does he do that? You're going to have to ask him yourself. Three players left. And the blinds have gone up to 30,000, 60,000. Aki with an even more commanding lead. Nico's second place in the chip count. He's gone all in with King 8 of diamonds. Just going to keep it simple until Mark has no more room to breathe. So Nico's just going to keep shoving here as the middle stack. Well, Mark has to call this one. And this could be a change of fortunes. Mark's going to call, take a shot with a wired pair. The 2 8s are looking good because Nico's 8 is pretty much dead in the water. He's going to need diamonds or king. Mark Angelo Vergara with a pocket 8s. His tournament life at risk. There are 3 players left, but he stands to double up 64% of the time in these spots. He's mostly lost to Nico in no showdown situations. But this time, it's a showdown situation, and Nico has outflopped him. 1 outer for Mark Angelo Vergara. Wow, Nico's had his number all night. Outplayed him, outflopped, and this time he's outflopped him, and it's just a blank. That 1 out. Not available. And Mark is eliminated. Just like that, we are now heads up. And that should pretty much put the chip counts closer to even. Nico might have 1.5 and Aki would have 2.5. That's a fairly close matchup. So our final 2 players, they're going to go heads up in a bit. I think we might... I don't know if they're going to bring out the trophy, take a picture. Looks like they're going to play right away. So here we go. Aquino Aki Cruz against John Nico Isip. 2.5 to 1.5 are the chip counts. Barely even as we start the heads up, and now Aki has nowhere to hide really. He's been picking his spots, but now every hand has to be a spot. As we know, Nico can play any 2 cards. Aki needs to widen up and show us what he's got heads up. It is an unraised pot just completed by the button. The 9 is hit. Aki's going to check it. And this should be the end of it for Nico. Checking to fold most definitely. Well, there's a card that can get him to call 1 bet if Aki should find a min bet. No, content to take the pot here with a pair of 9s. So, first pot goes to Aki. And we see 0.5 to 1.5. Fairly close matchup. We'll see if they spend a few rounds dancing around the ring, throwing jabs, or if they're going to go for the head kicks right off the bat. Well, we'd like Nico to move to the left because in this shot we want to see both players. Just something to note to improve further coverages. Nico Jack 5 on the button. I think at this point it's safe to say the cards don't matter. What hand would you like to be dealt heads up? It doesn't matter. What matters is aggression, position, keeping your opponent from breathing. And Nico's raised to 180. He's 3x'd it. Trying to shorten the stacks. Gonna take this one. So that is how both players have chosen to set the tone. Aki by completing his button, and Nico by raising his to a larger than usual amount. Button returns to Aki. Pocket tens. Well, he's completed a previous button. Let's see if he completes for balance, or he's going to play straightforward. That is a raise to 140. Nico in the big blind. Can't really fold too many big blinds. Got to defend most of them. Nico picked the wrong time here. He's gone all in again. Second time he's done this and ran into a superior hand. As we said, these all-in bets only ever get called by better hands. They work every time but the last time. Will this be the last time? As Nico has 7 high, he is covered by Aki as pocket tens dominates him. Hello, there's a gut shot and a flush draw. So many outs with 2 cards to come for Nico. He could double up. Needs a 4 or a heart. It's a heart, but it's a 10. So now Aki has a draw. If the board pairs, he gets back in the lead. Here comes the river. It is uneventful. Nice little sweat card, but ultimately Nico doubles up with 7 high. Making the wrong move at the right time. And Aki had him dead to rights. But he squeezed him too tight and he slipped right through his fingers. Nico now has the lead 3.2 million against 820,000. Poker rewards the aggressor. And we all know from the last few hours who the aggressor is at this table. Aki has played everything correctly. And quite a difference in styles that we're seeing. One is slow and steady to win the race. And the other is all guns blazing, taking every opportunity. Making some mistakes along the way, but that's poker. Not quite clear on what is being said at the table as our audio is a bit fuzzy. Wow. What a run there. What a flop there for Nico. And payoff on the turn immediately. We see the position now. I think what they're doing is they're moving Nico to C3. That way, from this angle, we can see him. So if you need a restroom break, it's a good time to go run there. They're going to change seats, update the chip count, stick it in the system, and then we're going to get going in a minute. Or they colored up. I think that's what happened. Nico is not moving to a seat on his left. They are just removing some 10K chips and chucking in some 50s. Also, they're doing a recount to make sure we can see from the chip counts. They should put some plaques in. Nico supposedly has 3.2 million. You can see a stack of the grays is 200,000, so it's 1.2 over there. Yeah, we might have got the counts wrong. It doesn't look like Nico has 3.2 million from this angle. Unless he hasn't been paid yet. Which I think is the case. I think Aki still has to settle that last bet. 1,520 is what needs to be paid. The 1,520,000. So accurately, it's 3 million versus about 1 million. We all set. Roughly 3 million versus 1 million. That's what we're looking at. As Nico has taken the lead, a 3-1 advantage. They are the final two players here at the weekend special, 400k guaranteed. Unfortunately, while all this was going on, the clock was running. We'll see if they turn it back or just play it as it lies. Blinds are 30,000, 60,000 with a 60,000 BB ante. It's heads up. So that really matters. Stand to lose a lot in the big blind. I mean, it's fine when you're full ring. You have plenty of room to breathe in a BB ante, but once it's heads up and BB ante, man, that hurts. There we go. Yes, ma'am, we are okay to go. Three to one advantage. Nico fresh off a unlikely double up. He had 7 high against pocket tens. Nico's gonna step on the gas. Aki will oblige with a call. This time Aki dominates him. We could go back and forth like this as Nico is trying to swing for the fences. Every bet a home run attempt. This time another unlikely hand. At risk is the queen 10, but looking in great shape as Nico can only win with diamonds or a 5 hitting the board. Let's see if this is indeed his night or morning. King 6-3, queen high, looking good for Aki. If he doubles up, it'll be 1.6 million for him. And now Aki's got the open ender. Only a 5 will change the fortunes here. And with this blank on the river, queen on the river, Aki doubles up. So 2.3 to 1.7. Back to the races we go. Nico trying to brute force Aki into submission. But you know, you have to recognize that maybe Aki is just willing to call much wider shoves. And so with the 10-5, he might have chosen to play that slower. Now Aki's sitting on about 1.6. Little over 2 million. You can see the 2 million stacked up on the left side. 1 million in gray chips and 1 million in pink chips. Nico posts the blinds. Small blind on the button for Aki. Will be first to act before the flop. Huge advantage after the flop. Let's see if both gentlemen choose to play fast. Doesn't seem to be Aki's style. 10-8. Might go back to completions. Or for balance, he is raising. He did raise with a pocket 10, so he might get a lot of respect here. He's shown really great hands. 10s, queens twice. So Nico has to respect this raise now, as he cannot risk doubling him up again. King 7 out of position is Nico. And on this board, it favors the range of Aki, who was the raiser on the button. Yeah, Nico plays it. We see that Nico has led out, doing all kinds of unorthodox things to throw Aki off center. this lead out, and Aki reads it correctly. These lead outs are hardly ever great. Very rarely are they from good hands, and so Nico must fold here. Chuck in 150 as a stab that failed. And Aki recognizing that that board fits his range so much better than it fits Nico's range. Great response to the donk bet. And Aki is moving up a little bit there, picked up an extra 150,000 plus the pre-flop raise. They should be pretty much even now. Maybe almost dead even. 1.9 against 2.1. Aki might have slightly out-chipped Nico. Nico gonna slow down and complete this button now that they are dead even. Both of them have garbage hands. Aki can take a free look, or he can try to push Nico off this hand that he had just completed. I believe we might have already flopped. Yes, Jack 6-4. It's a hit for Nico. Gut shot for Aki. Aki can win hitting the 7 or spiking a 5 for a straight. 5 would be disastrous. We give Nico 2 pair. Story doesn't change there. Same 6 outs for Aki. Nico still ahead with a 6. See if there's going to be some value milking here. Instead, Aki will lead out into Nico. Nico should feel pretty secure calling with the second highest pair there. And now 6s and 4s with a jack kicker. Aki must bluff now. He's only got 7 high. And he's got to go for that polarizing bet size. 400. Anything less, just going to get snap called. And that is a snap call. Nico takes that one. And Aki bled about 600,000 into that pot. Now that is some beautiful heads-up poker. Both gentlemen playing it pretty well. Aki might have benefited from taking a little bit more time on that river to cough up a higher bet. Once again, easier said than done. Sometimes, you know, the bet size is 500K, but you just can't fire it. Aki has shown us some really great instincts playing post flop. But Nico has shown us some wild aggression. And we'll see what prevails. Aki has called 30K. Nico's going to take the free flop, I believe. And we'll see if they build the pot after the flop. Here we go. 5 deuce against King Trey. I see a 5 on the board. 2 of them. In fact, Nico's flop trips. It is an unraised pot, so now the problem for Nico is how to bloat it. If Aki doesn't hit the board, nothing he does is going to get called. Nico bets 60K. That's the absolute minimum. Hoping Aki will take one and float, but Aki's done. No gain for Nico there. Just takes the completed blind of the button. However, Nico is still ahead. Back to where we started, 2.5 against 1.5. This was about the spot we were at when Nico doubled up Aki. Closer to 3-1 is where we're at. So we continue Nico on the button pocket 3s. This might be one you want to play for a pretty fast bet. And all in is the bet. Aki will not call with queen high. Nico takes this one. So oftentimes a lot better than playing post flop, as the pocket 3s get weaker with each card that shows up on the board. We got ourselves a dealer change. We'll see if that switches the fortunes of the players. course, dealers don't favor any player. Just superstition and favoritism. Last two players, you're watching the weekend special 400k guaranteed, streaming live from the Metro Card Club in Pasig City. On your right, Aquino Cruz, and now on your screen. Been mostly up. Only lost to a horrific run of cards, but otherwise has played pretty straightforward and bet when he has it. Made the right raises in the right spots to stay here in contention. King 6-7, 2 diamonds on the board. Neither player has anything, but Nico will lead out for 100,000. Can Aki float this flop? He chooses not to, and Nico has gone to nickel and diming Aki down into a corner, almost has him there. 2.7s to 1.3. Right around 3-1, Nico might go try to step on his throat again, but for the past two hands, it's been just small running plays. Few yards at a time as he tried to push Aki all the way back. Nico will be on the button in this one. Let's see if he chooses to keep playing small pots in position or if he changes it up here. That is in keeping with the spirit. But Aki has decided to raise, gone all in with 6 deuce, defending with offense. Saw the weakness in the completion on the button, as Nico has certainly raised with a more powerful hand, so nice read by Aki on that situation. Cards didn't matter. Well, now he sent a message, and we'll see if Nico adjusts next time that he's on the button. Right now, Aki's on the button. Constantly adjusting, readjusting, changing strategies, as these two players do not want to give too much ground. 7 deuce. Worst hand in Texas Hold'em. But cards don't matter when your head's up. Aki completes. Nico will take the free look. He'll be out of position with only a slightly better hand, Jack high. Flop is King 7 8, 7 deuce, never lose. Nico checks. Aki's got a 7. Might want to skip a street or bet here. Gonna play it fast and take it down. Hey, anytime you win a pot with 7 deuce, take it. You done good. Back to 2.5 to 1.5, which is roughly where we are teetering, as the blinds will rise in 6 minutes. 4 million, close to 4 million chips in play. I figure that means 15,000 starting stacks. Nico, let's see if changes it up. No, keeps completing the button. And Aki might shove over him again. Let's see how he chooses to play this one. Yep, he's done the exact same thing. Sending a message to Nico. If you complete your button, I will take it away. So let's see. Third time's a charm if Nico's going to adjust in the next play. Well, Nico has a chip advantage, so certainly has room to change it up a bit and raise those buttons moving forward. Aki's got the button. It's only ever raised when he actually has good cards. He's got good cards now. Although we did see him set a trap earlier with ace queen by limping in. This one he is going to raise. $150, Nico gladly calls. He feels very comfortable in post-flop situations, as we've seen. A7 deuce, Nico's got a 7, will not go away to 1 bet. So here's the check. Expect a call if Aki c-bets. It's a good spot to c-bet with the ace showing. And we know Nico's got to call at least 1 straight. Cannot give up. So he's made a call. We're going to see a turn through all these glitches. And the turn is a 10, 2 pair for Nico. Would love to see him check here. Aki might fire second barrel now that he's improved to a Broadway gut shot. Or he could save this bullet. Check this one. Oh, he's gone all in. Nico snap calls. This could be the end. Aki misread his opponent's check for weakness. Fired that second barrel and it was a big one. Swinging for the fence, might end up hitting the umpire in the head instead. Only a queen can save him. There's 4 of them in the deck. Aki at risk. Nico stands to win this right now, as Nico has won the weekend special. John Nico Isip had played a highlight reel final table. And it's been not just entertaining, but also excellent in post-flop spots. And you can see here a few stats, but he is our champion for tonight. Thank you for watching the stream. Hope you can rewatch it on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. Follow on Facebook. You know the drill. And we will see you in the next stream. Congratulations to John Nico Isip. And also well played, very impressive game from second placer Aquino Aki Cruz. Good morning and see you on the felt soon.
Madam.
Blowing dead kahat! Let's go!